So it's finally stopped raining a little bit so that we can get some stuff done. You can see that Carolyn's finally got all her blankets washed. It's really stressing her out. All the rain, she couldn't get it hung up. It was just, there's been a lot of rain. The well has finally got cleaned and stayed clean. Even though we've had a few drizzles here and there. I say drizzles, you know, hour-long rain. It's staying clean like it should. These long all-day rains that happen every other day would just saturate the ground, and all that groundwater was going down into the well. But I am learning that I'm not the only one in the world that has this problem with wells. Someone in Georgia said that when it rains a lot in Georgia, their well gets messed up with clay. I think ours is pretty much from the minerals, the bedrock, all the minerals kind of drain down in there and discolor it. It turns into kind of a greenish, brownish color. Down in Florida, I've heard of wells, you know, like a rust color. So I guess it's not just me, it's everybody. So maybe I'm just putting too much emphasis on having clean water. The thing I do know is I put these little house filters in line to filter the water before it goes into the IBC tank. And after a hard rain, if I don't flush that well out, it clogs those filters up pretty quickly. So there's something in it that's you know, causing the filters to clog. And I've showed these before. I've got 2 carbon filters, and then I have a sediment filter. So it's sediment, carbon, carbon. And that works out pretty good. Keeps the IBC tank pretty clean. And if I do make a mistake and the water does get dirty and I didn't notice it, then the filters are kind of a stopgap from the IBC tank getting dirty, and I have to dump it out. But I've done a lot of work to this old well to keep it alive long enough I don't have to replace it in my lifetime. You know, if I can keep it going another 20, 25, 30 years, something like that, that'd be great. So this doesn't work like a regular well because I've modified it. Most wells have a pressure tank, and so the well pump fills the pressure tank, and then the pressure tank actually sends water to your house when you open up your faucet. That way the pump isn't always kicking on and off. I don't know if it saves anything. It seems to me that once you ran the tank down, that your pump's still going to kick on. So I just run it once a day for 15 minutes or so, and I fill the IBC tank, and then the IBC tank has an RV pump. It's just a little battery operated RV pump that runs off 12 volts, so my solar system can run it. That pumps it into the house. That way I can run it off solar. This I can run off solar, but it takes so much sunlight. Sun's got to be straight up in the sky in the summertime, no clouds, in order to run it. If I run it on batteries, I get maybe 5 minutes out of it, and then it drains the batteries. It would take a lot of batteries to run it, and then it's got to charge back up. But I can do it. So the alternative is to run it off the generators. And that's what we've been doing. It seems to work fine. The generator, I got 2 of them now. One of them runs off propane and gas, and this one runs off just gas. This is the old one. I've kind of retired it, so it only runs a little bit by running the well. Of course, it's got to run really hard because the well takes a lot of power. But it's keeping up pretty good. Since I brought it up here, I don't know, it's been a couple months since I brought it up here. I've only had to fill the tank once, maybe twice. I guess, I don't know. Regardless, it doesn't use a lot of gas. And I've been thinking about this. The water bill I used to pay, I would say it was probably about 60 bucks a month. It was outrageous. The water bill here is $4.50. I lived in a little rental house. We were never home. And I think the electric bill had an extra $20 added onto it because of the well. So running off the generator just doesn't take a lot of money. The generator on normal loads runs about 11 hours on a gallon of gas. I couldn't tell you what it runs running that well, but I don't run it that much. 15 minutes to fill the IBC tank and I'm done. The biggest cost has been all this rain because I keep flushing the well out. So I have to run the well, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, 3 times in order to get the water to flush out. I got to flush it out once, flush it out again, and I flush it out a 3rd time, and then I fill the tank. So flushing it has used quite a bit more gasoline. During the regular months where there's not all this rain, I don't even think I'm going to use $4. Right now it's $4.50 a gallon. That's why I'm saying it's $4. When gas was $1.99, I mean, it was nothing to run the generator then. So propane cost, I don't run the well off propane, but I could. There's nothing saying I can. It's just, it's way down there, and it's convenient to have a generator up here. And since I have two, that's what I've been doing. But if I ran off propane, it would be a bit cheaper, because propane cost now is cheaper than gasoline costs. I've done all the math. I've showed you all that before. I don't feel like I'm wasting a lot of money. I got a comment the other day saying it's just, what are you going to do if there's no gas? Or gas prices get so high it's unreasonable. Well, if gas prices ever got that high, I mean, think about that. $60 a gallon is what it would have to cost for me to match the price I was paying at my home. $60 a gallon. Think about that. For gas, I don't think it's ever going to get that high. So it's kind of an unreasonable thing to say it's going to get so high I won't be able to afford to run the well off the generator, because it takes about a month to use a gallon of gas. Even if I had to fill it up twice, that's $8. It's still a lot cheaper than most people's water bill. It definitely was cheaper than the water bill that I was paying at the city water. And when I was running the well, like I said, we thought it was about $20. So I don't think it's ever going to get that expensive. Like I said, we still run it off propane. If we just run out of gas, then again, I will still run it off propane. Now, I've said many times that we have a natural spring just down the hill. I've showed you the natural spring. I went down there. I thought about going down there again today so you can see it, but changed my mind. I like my property and I don't want to go down there to the city and all those dogs and people, so I'm just going to stay here. But we could go down there and get water. It's not that far, maybe a mile and a half. So even if we didn't want to take the truck, we could walk. I mean, it'd be a real struggle carrying buckets back. We have the little pull wagon that we could load up with a few buckets. We could take the truck, of course that's gasoline too. So I think that we have a backup idea. The other thing, and this is the thing I'm going to do within the next, I don't know, several weeks, months, is I'm going to get a hand pump. You see a lot of these old wells that has a hand pump. The thing is those wells aren't as deep as this well. This one goes down into bedrock, into the water table. That's important because it's clean water. The wells you see that have these hand pumps typically go down about 16 feet. I think that's pretty standard. I think that's where the law says it has to be at 16 feet. That house I was telling you about that the water bill was $60, it had one of those old wells. It went down 16 feet. When they sold the house, they had to put a pump on it. It didn't have a pump when they sold it, or when they decided to sell it. But the realtor told them they had to have a pump on it, or insurance or something, I don't remember. So they put a pump on it, and they went to Ace Hardware. I don't know if you have an Ace in your area, but there's a lot of them around here. And they just bought this $20 plastic hand pump. You could actually screw a hose onto it, onto the downspout where the water came out. It was just a little handle, and you could pump it. That actually worked pretty good. Now, they didn't run the PVC pipe all the way down to the bottom, so you weren't getting that much of water out of it. They just did it so they could comply with the realtor or whoever told them they had to do it. I ended up taking that off, and I just ran a regular pump down there because I wanted to water my grass. But it worked fine. I didn't keep it, wish I had. So what I think I'm going to do is the PVC, I think, is probably 1/2 inch, 3/4, quarter, I don't know. It's what, you know, the small PVC. And you can run that PVC down into your well. Well, this well is a 6-inch hole. I only have a 4-inch well pump in it. The hose on itself is only like 1 inch. I'm just gonna say 1 1/4 inch, 1.5 inches. So the pipe that goes down isn't that big. The pump is 4 inches. So the pump goes down, let's call it, I don't remember, 100 feet, 90 feet, something like that. So I could run the PVC down before it gets to the well pump. That way I don't have to try to get the PVC pipe past the well pump. It doesn't have to go all the way down to the bottom. It just has to get down to the water level. The well recovers fast enough. It's probably 15 gallons a minute recovery. It's not too bad. Maybe not that much, maybe 10 gallons. So you figure you're hand pumping into a bucket, it's going to take you 5 minutes to fill that bucket, right? So the well recovers real quick. So even if I just got the PVC down to just the top of the water level, it would never run out of water. Now, a lot of people, including my dad, suggest that there's this old device, and I don't know what it's called. I've saved the webpage in case everyone wanted to get it. It's like $150. But it's like a 4-foot tube, probably 3 or 4 inches in diameter, that you can lower down into the well. And then you pull it back up full of water. Then you pull the trigger and the water dumps out into your bucket. It's, I don't know how many gallons of water it is, 2, 3, 4, 5 gallons of water. And we could do that. That means I would have to remove the well pump and everything to use that device. But I was thinking, well, actually Carolyn was thinking, that's a lot of work. You're only gonna get 5 gallons out of it or whatever it holds, and it's gonna be heavy. If it's 5 gallons, it's 40 pounds. A gallon of water is 8 pounds, so that's pretty heavy. I pulled that well pump out 2 or 3 times. We were replacing it when we built all this, and I couldn't get the well pump to work correctly. So I'd lower it down, turn it on, it wasn't working, pull it back out. Had to do that 3 or 4 times. Oh, my arms were exhausted, just exhausted. And that well pump isn't gonna weigh as much as that 5 gallons of water. Well, even if it's a gallon of water or 2 gallons of water, it's gonna be pretty heavy. That's why I decided we'll get this hand pump. The other thing that's cool about that is if I just wanted some water to wash my hands or to fill up a little jar or something, I could just pump that a couple times, get water out of it. I wouldn't have to turn on the generator. So I'm going to put a link to these generators and a product description or product list. It's right here on the screen. Touch the screen where my face is. You'll see something pop up. You click that, it says product list. Then you'll see these generators. I'd really appreciate if you check those out. Also, there's a super thanks button down there at the bottom. I'd appreciate if you check that out. So I hope I can inspire you to think ahead so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.